Hello, greetings, and welcome everyone to this news video. I am the Ninjaneer, and we are going to be talking about quite a few topics today. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I missed a week by mistake / on purpose, so let's go ahead and catch up. The news stories for today are as follows. Help Aptera be recognized for their world-changing leaders. BMW is researching an in-wheel motor. Steve shows the PDU goods. Honda Prologue specs, dud or stud. Lunabot is on the Aptera website. Automotive Super Bowl commercials. BYD is partnering with Ford. It's still weird to say. Production-ready 1,000-mile battery. What the what? How Norway built an EV utopia. Rust on the Cybertruck. And finally, things that I liked. Alright, let's go ahead and jump in here. The first story today revolves around Bloomberg. The periodical asked us to nominate influential business people, and someone on Reddit had a great idea to nominate Chris Anthony and Steve Fambro. or Steve Fambro. This would go a long way to putting Aptera in front of more people, so the link for submitting Chris and Steve will be below, as well as sample answers for what to put down in the comments below. I'm not sure when the voting process ends because I can't see the whole article because I'm not subscribed to Bloomberg, but I will have the link below anyway, and yeah guys, show your support. BMW is researching an in-wheel motor design with a company called Deep Dive. The company expects to see a 20% increase in the range of their electric vehicles just with this change. This could signal a significant shift if the automotive industry as a whole begins researching in-wheel motors and implementing them in their vehicles. It could also mean a lot with respect to efficiency of the entire industry, so yeah, keep your ears to the ground. This is going to be very fascinating. If BMW likes it, then maybe all the other legacy automotive makers will appreciate the increase in efficiency and decrease in number of parts. Steve shows several pictures of the PDU and BMS boards. By the way, PDU stands for Power Distribution Unit and BMS stands for Battery Management System. These are the physical brains of the operation, and based on a few of the things I can see in the pictures, these boards are built to last a while. It's also pretty simple if the images he showed were the entire boards, which, by the way, they probably were not, which is a good sign. In general, boards that are simple and meant to last do. I actually missed this story from a few weeks ago, but Honda announced the specs of their new Prologue vehicle, which prompted me to go and check out on their website if I could actually build one, which you currently cannot. The article I read said that the Prologue will be a $48,000 to $59,000 vehicle with up to 340 horsepower and up to 296 miles of range at a 85 kilowatt-hour battery pack. I expect the final price to be higher and the range to be lower if they follow the trend of literally every legacy automaker announcing a vehicle to date. Yeah. Aptera's steady, consistent engineering progress extends to their entire brand, including now their website. I went to the website and saw that this bot could answer questions. I asked the bot a few questions, some of them not even Aptera related necessarily, and it did a pretty good job of answering them. Later this week, or perhaps maybe early next week, I am going to ask some questions of the system and rate the answers just kind of for a bit of fun. So yeah, stay tuned for later on this week. There were a few Super Bowl ads that revolved around vehicles. I missed them because D&D was happening that day. People had a lot of buzz around the Super Bowl commercials this year, so I decided to do a video checking out those commercials, and I will link that video down below. Ford is partnering with BYD in order to source LFP battery packs for their EVs. Is a statement that I never thought I would say, like, ever. But here we are. To be fair, I also never anticipated saying that Ford would be the first company that was not Aptera to adopt the NACS plug. Go figures. It appears that day by day, Ford and increasingly GM are motivated to live into the next decade or so, and this is just another step in that direction. What this means for the EV tax credits remains to be seen, but it does show that Ford is willing to take EVs at least a little seriously. Production-ready 1,000-mile batteries have been a thing that several companies have marketed fairly recently, and these stories tend to get a lot of traction. One thing that has bothered me, however, with respect to these claims, no company has put one in a car and tested it, so the 1,000-mile range claims feel almost always a bit dubious. Most of these companies are using some form or another of solid-state or semi-solid-state batteries, but the mileage claim will continue to make me raise an eyebrow until it is tested in an actual vehicle. Now, there are some of you that may have noticed that I am more skeptical of this 1,000-mile claim than I am the 1,000-mile claims made by Aptera. The reason is simple. They have advanced computer modeling and a fair bit of real-world testing to back up their claims, so, long story short, not all 1,000-mile claims are created equal. It is rare to see an article that is this off taking off on EV websites, but here we are. Now, I will preface this by saying I absolutely get why someone would want this story to be true as a pro-EV individual, and I honestly hope that this story becomes true as a matter of course over the next few years, but I don't suspect the person writing this article fully did their research, or they may have seen what they wanted to see, I guess, because the numbers can be construed sort of as this person puts it if they don't look at the whole. So anyway, the story in question will be linked below, but the story revolves around a claim that Japanese automakers are making their way to EVs via hybrids. The problem with that is no automaker has really said this, and the data to back it up is dubious. Instead of making this video twice as long, I will encourage you to take a gander at the distribution of sales between ICE vehicles and EVs for Japanese automakers. If anything, ICE vehicles are funding the transitions to hybrids and EVs and that kind of thing. Hybrids are kind of sprinkled in there more or less as an alternative to EVs, like a bridge gap, but it's not funding EVs, if you will. That's the ICE vehicle sales. That's what is currently funding EV progress in most automotive companies that specialized in ICE vehicles, is their ICE sales. It's not the hybrid sales. I don't get where that came from a numbers perspective. If anything, they're kind of a stopgap until, compelling EVs become a thing in mass. So yeah, I don't expect that this story has been or will be true, and if we do take another interim step towards EVs at this point, it would be a poor idea, I guess, would be the best way I could put it, in my opinion. Yeah, anyway, long story short, weird story. Please do research people who are writing these articles. Anyway, there was a video made by CNBC that essentially broke down how Norway transitioned to EVs. I believe that many countries can take more than one page out of their book. Long story short, infrastructure, incentives, and education are all vital to get right. If you get these three things right, in general, you're going to have a really high EV adoption rate. Or so the story seems to go in at least Norway. I would suggest checking out the entire video because they break down a lot of other small factors that kind of added up, but the three things that I mentioned stood out to me as the real difference between Norway EV adoption and basically everywhere else. There are people reporting that their Cybertrucks are rusting. While I have seen some pictures that show rust on the surface of the Cybertruck, I don't think the metal itself is actually rusting. This is not to discount those people that have had that experience. This particular section is to kind of highlight what I think is probably happening, and kind of give some context, some perspective here. So anybody that has sat down and talked to me for any prolonged period of time knows that I was at one point an engineer. I've shifted well, rather, I was studying as an engineer. I shifted from being a mechanical engineer, studying mechanical engineering, to studying aerospace engineering, and then to studying electrical engineering. During the time that I was studying mechanical engineering, there was an experiment that I was trying to hash out that involved a lot of metallurgy. I wanted to be a mechanical engineer because I wanted to be able to produce a hydrogen producing box, essentially. I wanted to use water and split it into its hydrogen and oxygen components. And to make that happen, I had to build an electrode, essentially, that would dip into a very highly basic vat of water and split that water using the base as a catalyst. Yeah, I tried about 7 different alloys of aluminum and steel. After weeks of trying different metals and trying to get the electrodes to stop literally melting in the solution, yeah, it was pretty bad. Basically, it would rust to the point where it would literally fall apart and be like a basin in the bottom of rust and sadness and failure. That happened within minutes of me actually producing any sort of hydrogen. I would turn the system on, the cathode and anode would melt completely, and it would just be a pile of rust, oxidized metals in the bottom. After weeks of trying this, like I was saying before, I found that I was trying to approach the problem from a metal set that didn't meet my needs. Long story short, I found 316 stainless steel, which I ended up using as a tube form because it was just easier for surface area and all that kind of stuff. Without getting too terribly technical, 316 stainless steel lasted for years in my bubbling machine instead of minutes to hours for any other material that I used. The reason why I mentioned this 316 stainless steel is because the stainless steel that Tesla uses in their vehicle, 301 stainless steel, is very similar in properties to the 316 stainless steel. And if 316 stainless steel can literally survive the most extreme conditions that I put the metal through, like I was saying, any other cathode that I tried melted in minutes. This stuff lasted for years without corroding at all. I find it unlikely that the metal of the Cybertruck itself is actually corroding. What I believe is probably the case is that during the machining process, the grinding or the buffing of the metals that are the Cybertruck side panels, it might leave some residue of those metals if those metals are softer than stainless steel or have a propensity to rub off into the stainless steel. That could be where the rust is coming from. The metals that are being used to polish the metal, the stainless steel, not necessarily the stainless steel itself. Now, this doesn't change the fact that it essentially means that we are still having to buff out rust that's on the surface of the Cybertruck. So that, like, again, I'm not trying to say that it's not rusting. What I am saying is the rust in question might be from a completely different source than what people are believing. Yes, stainless steel can rust, but the stainless steel that they chose is so similar to a metal that I used in a basically the most corrosive environment that I've ever seen a metal be be subjected to, rather, and survived that for years. I highly doubt that the stainless steel of the Cybertruck itself is rusting. You guys are free to refute or to disagree in the comments. I simply ask that you be respectful. I am curious to hear you guys' viewpoints on that particular story as well. Alright, now for things that I liked this week. There was a video released by EV Pulse. about a year ago or so that did a fantastic job underscoring the difference between kilowatt and kilowatt hours. For some reason, YouTube has been suggesting really old videos, 2, 3, 5 years old. This one just happened to be a really good one, so I'll go ahead and link it in the comments below. But this video did a great job of explaining those 2 units of measurement, and anyone who is new to the EV space, or anyone who's been around the space for a minute, it is absolutely worth the watch to kind of help understand this foundational concept to the EV transition. Drive the Lightning interviewed me, and holy bananas, that was fun. I really appreciated their professionalism and fantastic questions, and if you haven't already, I would say go check it out. I enjoyed working with them and would do it again in a heartbeat, so yeah man, good times. Every time I think they just can't top themselves when it comes to media and video production, Aptera actually does just that. They put out a Valentine's Day video that was extremely well done. The video did a great job of reminding me of all the reasons why I fell in love with Aptera. Yeah, check it out. It was fantastic. This past week, there were 2 fantastic channels that put out videos about the Aptera and their impressions of the vehicle. The first I will mention here is called Electric Garage. The 25-minute video was very detailed and very fun to watch. The second, from Aging Wheels, was also quite detailed, but had a very different feel and personality to it. The Aptera community is as varied as their video expressions of their Aptera experiences, apparently. Anywho, these vehicles are videos, not vehicles. Anywho, both of these videos are on my list of stories that I have linked below, so I will encourage you to check those out as well. That'll do it for this news update, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I am the Engineer. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you guys so much. This is way longer than the normal videos that I do. Please do the YouTube-y things if you like the video. Even if you didn't like the video, do the YouTube-y things. Let me know. Again, thank you so much for your time and your watching, and for 500 subscribers, man, that was wacky. It kind of happened in the course of a day. Like, I jumped from 480 something to 505 or something like that. It was wackadoo. I appreciate the outpouring of support, and I appreciate you guys being as awesome as you are. Continue being awesome, and I will continue doing my best to do the same. Thank you guys so much again, and have a great day. The company expects to see a 20% increase in the range of their already electric... I'm just going to go ahead and delete that word because it's been screwing me up all day.